Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show, and thank you so much for joining us on what's turning out to be a beautiful day here in New York City. I'm your host, Joey Sips, with Business Talk Radio. And speaking of, we have a great show for you coming up right now. This is why I love my job, because I get to host the most wonderful people in the world, like this next gentleman. You see, we had a great show last week, and I had a pleasure of hosting him, and we were talking about things like love in general, the hard side of love, communication, fearlessness, all these great topics. He is a licensed, independent clinical social worker. Not a licensed clinical social worker. No. A licensed, independent clinical social worker.
That's right.
And that's right. And there he is. You can hear him already in the background. He's a marriage counselor. He's a sex therapist, he's a psychotherapist, and he's the CEO of the company, everybody, from New Bedford, Massachusetts. Here today with a whole bunch of brand new topics for you is Andrew Aaron. Hello, Andrew. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Joey, what a great introduction. Thank you very much.
Well, you know, man, I just get excited sometimes, and especially we had such a great show last time, and I've been looking forward to this because we had such a great show. We got a whole hour with you, too. We have a whole hour, everybody, so I absolutely encourage you to relax, enjoy yourself, and join the conversation. We'd love to hear from you. Our studio line while we're live is 631-569-4576. Again, that's 631-569-4576. Wow, we got a lot on our plate today, Mr. Aaron. We're talking about some great stuff. We're going to start off with arguing because, hey, we all do that, right? We all do that with ourselves, with our spouses, or with our kids, with our boss sometimes. Although I would not encourage you to get into an argument with your boss. But we're going to be talking about the concepts of simplicity, phases of love and relationships. And I'm really hoping we get to this last piece, because this one is going to raise everybody's ears, and that's the aspects of eroticism. Ooh, I got to be honest. I wish we were starting with that. So you know what? We're going to save we're going to save the suspense for you all. But again, thank you all for joining us, and Andrew, welcome back to the show. There's so many things going on right now. I don't even know where to start. So let's start at the beginning. Again, everybody, he's a marriage counselor, a sex therapist, and a psychotherapist. So he hits the full thing of the triangle here. He does it all. So let's start with arguing. It's something that we all do. Let's start there.
Okay, very good. If I may, Joey, I just want the listeners to know that I help people from coast to coast, and sometimes I even help people overseas. And anyone who wishes to find me and get some help can find me at my website, which is helpforpassion.com. That's help, F-O-R, passion.com. And, Joey, I am one of the luckiest guys in the world. I get to talk with people about love and about growth and about how to love themselves better. I think it's one of the most interesting topics in the world, and I have a sense that it's interesting to a great number of people as well.
Sure.
And in our attempts to love, we have relationships. And in those relationships, well, it's not terribly unusual that we have arguing. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of too bad. A lot of the couples who come to me for help, they're stuck in a cycle of arguing. They argue on a regular basis, and they often argue about the same thing again and again and again. And boy, I'll tell you, it can get tiresome.
Yeah.
No one likes arguing. It's uncomfortable, it's painful, and there are ways to live life and to love better than that, okay? Mm-hmm. So a lot of my work, as soon as I help people with the issue of love, I also then help people with the issues of pain, because in reality, there's no love without pain. And arguing is one painful aspect to loving ourselves, loving others, loving our kids, loving life.
You're right.
Okay, there's going to be.
And you know what? I just want to say, like, you know, obviously arguing in a way it's natural in a relationship. We always do, but it's how the argument goes, right? It's like, you know, if you're going at each other for something, that's one thing, but then sometimes other things get involved, like you'll throw each other's faults in each other's faces, or something like that, where it escalates.
Yeah, that's what I call character assassination, and I guide my couples through a whole series of very important steps, like a protocol, a bunch of really important rules, and one of those rules is to eliminate just that, Joey, and that is eliminating character assassination. That's not an element of fair fighting, okay?
Sure.
So a lot of our success in life doesn't come from kind of saying, well, you know, I feel this way, so that makes it okay. No, we have to be strong people, and there are certain things that we do. They're just not okay, and we don't negotiate with them. Mm-hmm. Character assassination, being hurtful, being disrespectful, I'm sorry, there's just no place for it. And we have to be strong enough to set certain limits and say, yeah, that's not the kind of person I am. If I'm a romantic partner, that is not a way to treat my partner. Okay? It's not okay. So, when it comes to arguing, what's actually happening is that we're having a battle with our partner because on some level we're also having a battle with ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we have to straighten out our relationship with ourselves. Who is the kind of person that we need to be? How do we need to be so we can be proud of ourselves? And we need to enter into a conflict in a way in which we are proud of ourselves. Right? If we don't, then the conflict is never likely to shift to becoming constructive. Okay, does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes, it does. And
there's Oh, go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the thing is this too, which I'm just going along with what you're saying is, and I hope I'm right here, and that is that, you know, when people argue, if there's a legitimate reason, I guess, you know, then there's a legitimate reason. But sometimes we could just be having a bad day, and you usually take out, you know, your argument or whatever's going on with the person that's closest to you. So it could be a husband and a wife situation, and you might not even actually be mad at that person, but you're having a bad day, so you're the closest person here. You're going to be my punching bag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I say is, just like the building that's closest to the sky is going to be the one that gets the lightning zap, right?
Yeah, okay. That's a great way of looking at it, sure.
Yeah, that doesn't make it okay, and that doesn't mean that we can't do better. I believe we have to be really strong people, and one part of being a strong person is fulfilling our highest obligation, and that is to protect our partner from being hurt by us.
Sure.
But that's not easy, right? And I think we all have the experience of, at a weak point, unfortunately, some not-so-nice things happen, a series of unfortunate events, and in a moment of weakness, we become hurtful, right? But then, Joey, then we need to also be strong in our ability to apologize and accept ownership, and then gather up our efforts and try to do better moving onward, right?
Sure.
But just because somebody invites us to a fight does not mean we have to show up, right? Just because our partner has a bad day and is hurtful does not mean we have to respond by also being hurtful. You know, if we have two people who are hurtful or disrespectful or, you know, dropping down to a low level, down to the bottom of the bucket, or, you know, diving into the dumpster, so to speak, it's going to be much harder to make things better if both partners are doing it as compared to just one.
Right.
So just because our partner's having a bad day and is spouting off does not mean that we have to let go of our obligation to be a good human being and become hurtful. So if we can not join them in it, now the chances of turning this thing around and this actually being a growing learning moment instead of a destructive moment is much higher, okay? But people argue because pain is running the moment and running the relationship at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? A lot of people have a lot of pain. Life is tough, especially in this day and age, this crazy year of 2020 with COVID.
Yes.
There's a lot of pain. And when pain builds in us and we don't have the strength to contain it, it's going to run our behavior and our attitude.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And then when you get two people like that, well, all bets are off. The pain is going to run the discussion, run the attitude, and you can bet that partners are going to say things that are going to cause the situation to escalate.
100%.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
And you know, and you hit it right on the nose. I just wanted to comment on what you said. You hit it on the nose with, you know, especially in this day and age with 2020. I mean, honestly, anything could happen in this moment, Andrew, and it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me because of all the craziness that has happened. And you know what? And I know people out there, same way you might know, or you might even have clients that are in the situation where they might have had a perfect relationships their whole life, and then this happened, and they're confined with each other, or maybe one of the parties or both of the parties lost their jobs, and it's all it's all the surrounding stress. It doesn't mean that I love you less. It doesn't mean that I'm mad at you, but I've got all of these surrounding things going on in my life, and I don't know how to handle it. And you know, and who am I going to take it out on? I'm going to take it out on the person that's closest to me, and it stinks because, you know, you might not even have anything against that person. It's all the things that are going on around you.
That's right. And the person who's most close to us is also the person who's most important. The way I see it is a love relationship is a closed system. And what happens in that system stays in that system. Mm-hmm. So if we if we let go of our strength, and we act hurtfully, and now our partner, our spouse is hurt, now that pain is going to come back at us from them. So it goes around and around and around, okay? The life we live, in 2020 it's particularly hard. The life we live every day needs to be an opportunity to grow and to better ourselves. And excuse-making doesn't really work, okay? We have to be better at producing results than producing excuses. And, okay, we have hardship. How are we going to rise up and meet that challenge? What are we going to grow? In what way are we going to grow and learn from this adversity so we can be a stronger, better human being tomorrow, right? Sure. And I know it's hard, and I know for some of us it does reach our limits and we break. But most of us can grow. Most of us can learn, and to do our best to produce good results instead of excuses. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Sure.
So pain runs the relationship, and if we do well at solving problems, then there's an opportunity, instead of pain, for love to run the relationship. But love will never run the relationship when there's a lot of pain, and pain has the opportunity to take over, right? That's why problem solving within marriages and relationships is so important, is every problem represents a certain amount of pain, and unsolved problems not just represent pain, but accumulate pain, and it grows within the relationship. And before long, it'll close off love, connection.
Sure.
That'll be destroyed. Closeness, that won't happen. The core friendship in the love relationship will get diminished.
Mr. Aaron, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We got a caller coming in right now.
Great.
Yeah, let's take that call. Hold on one second. Hello, caller. Thank you for calling us while we're live at Business Talk Radio. We got Mr. Andrew Aaron with us right now. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Rick. I'm calling from New York.
What's up, Rick from New York? Thank you for calling us. Do you have a question for Mr. Aaron?
Yeah, you know what I do. I'm kind of curious. What does an individual's therapy session look like?
Hey, Rick. How are you?
Okay.
Good. How you doing?
Good. That's a great question. Starts right at the beginning and something I really like about that question is it demonstrates curiosity, and that's an openness that's really valuable. So good for you, Rick. A therapy session, I'm a little biased. I think it's a wonderful thing. It's an opportunity to sit and be yourself and be completely accepted for who you are. It's a conversation. So if you were with me and we were talking, it would be a conversation in which it gets to be completely about you, how you feel, what you've experienced, how you experience yourself, but also oftentimes about the changes that you'd like to make, these struggles, these sources of pain or challenge you have in your life or your love relationship. What do you think of that, Rick?
That's very good. That's inviting. Also, I was wondering if I came with my partner, would I be able to see you individually if I came?
Yeah, actually, I have an interesting approach to that. Not all marriage counselors do this, and not all therapists do it, or even are comfortable with it. But I do work with couples, and I work with the individual partners separately, sometimes all at the same time, because I find that talking to the partners individually, I learn the backstory, and I learn the depth of what's going on, which empowers me to be a much better couples therapist. And I also maintain a strict confidentiality, and I do hold on to secrets that partners share with me. And that way I keep everyone safe and make sure that the couple, that only positive things happen within the couple. How does that sound, Rick?
Very good. I'm going to take you up on that. What is your contact information there, if you don't mind?
Yeah, look me up through my website, and you can actually set up an appointment straight through the website. You can see my calendar and get that process started, and the website address is helpforpassion.com. That's help, F-O-R, passion.com. And Rick, let me say one more thing if you do have a moment, and that is that an individual therapy session is a lot like looking in the mirror, except looking in the mirror at yourself emotionally. So you get to see yourself in a very clear way, and that can be super valuable for growth and change. Anything else?
Yes, no, that's it. That answers my question, and I'm going to check you out on your website.
Awesome question, Rick. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick.
Welcome.
Best
Thank
of luck.
you.
Take care.
All right, take care. Bye.
Okay, that was nice. And before we get back into it, once again, everybody, just like Rick, you can give us a call while we're live, 631-569-4576. You have a question for Mr. Aaron, he will probably have an answer for you. Give us a call. So, sorry about that, sir, but great. I'm glad that was a good pause. Let's start where we left off.
Okay, yeah, no, there's no need to apologize. I encourage listeners. I am here for the listeners. I really want to provide something that can help the listeners' day to be better, to help their love relationships be a little better. So I'm here for you. Please give a call. You are not interrupting.
Okay.
So I was talking about the pain running the relationship, and we need to solve problems so there's less pain contained within the partnership. And when pain is running things, that's when an argument is likely to occur. It's the pain running things and running the conversation. And there are 4 things that are missing that are contributing to arguing, Joey. And that is, number 1, when partners are arguing, they are not listening to each other.
Okay.
When partners are arguing, neither is being compassionate for the other's pain. And there's plenty of pain, okay? When an argument is occurring, partners are not understanding each other. And that's why escalation occurs, is because when somebody understands us, we feel better. Our pain and our anger go down. I've been known to say that water puts out fire the way understanding puts out anger. That if we offer someone listening and understanding, they're going to feel better. They're going to feel less angry. It diffuses anger. But when two people argue, neither are listening to the other. They're both usually trying to speak at the same time, expressing their pain and trying to get understood at the same time, so no one's listening. And that causes more pain and escalation. And because partners... Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I just wanted to say it makes perfect sense because, like, you know, if I'm in an argument with her, which doesn't happen often, but obviously it happens in every relationship, I feel like it's not a matter of talking over each other. It's just that, like you said, you're not really paying attention because I feel like as I'm trying to get my point across, she's not really listening. What she's thinking is whatever she's thinking, whatever she's going to say next in her head, and vice versa. You know, so it's
right.
not that's how I feel it goes. You're not really paying attention because all you're thinking about is how am I going to retaliate? You know, how am I going to, you know, get my point across? And then it just goes back and forth.
Right. And just what you said right there, how I'm going to retaliate. If we're interested in retaliating, we're in pain. And
Fair.
How am I going to get my point across? Well, if I need to get my point across, I'm doing so because I'm not being listened to, and that's painful and upsetting, right?
Correct.
So
Yes.
that's going to escalate. Yeah, Joey, none of this is rocket science. It's all really, really simple, basic stuff. Mm-hmm. But we're emotional beings, and when we're lost in our painful emotions, this stuff just doesn't show up to us, all right? It's not that it's hard, and it has nothing to do with our intelligence. Most people are plenty intelligent enough to get along and live a good life, but it's the painful emotions. Our love relationships are emotional entities, and my work is all about emotions.
Absolutely.
And usually, in a way, I almost feel like I'm the doctor of pain because I almost always am dealing with pain, right?
Right, and you know, and that's a great point because, you know, when people do see you, sir, they're usually at their weakest point, or, you know, something's really going on, you know, and it's a sin because I wanted to ask you, like, and it might be a weird question, but it's just a random question. Is it still okay? Like, let's say you really do have a great relationship. Do you think it's still okay to just talk to somebody, or do you?
Oh,
think
absolutely.
That, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I work a lot of couples I work with. Over some time of doing some good hard work, they get to a really great place. And a lot of those couples come back to me every 6 months or once a year just for kind of a maintenance checkup, right?
Okay.
Just to kind of get straight with each other, to have a deeper conversation. A conversation on a slightly deeper level to check in and make sure they're okay. And sometimes individual partners come in just to look in that mirror, to learn about themselves emotionally and check in and find out kind of where they're at, because we are not always as aware of our deeper feelings, and it's really helpful to be more conscious of what's going on us on a deeper level.
Well, I'm glad I asked, you know, because like I said, you know, when people usually seek therapy, it's because they're already past that tense, right? It's because by now there's already something extremely bothersome, or they're you know, they're walking on eggshells, or they're at their wits' end, and that's usually what I would think the state of mind is when people do come and see you for your services.
Well, you know, I hear that, Joey, and that is unfortunate. It's an unfortunate truth. Mm-hmm. But I also work with a lot of couples for quality of life. They're not a train wreck. They come in because they just find that having a place to talk and having a facilitator like myself to help them clarify and do a little bit of fine adjustments just improve the quality of their life and love. It promotes growth. But I also get a lot of couples who come to me for sex therapy, not because they have a sexual problem, but because they want to supercharge their sex life, and they want more pleasure and more connection and more excitement between them. So sometimes I just work to help improve the quality of passion and pleasure and excitement.
Wow. Well, that's great, and you know what? And that's awesome too, because you probably have a good time with these people too. Because you're not necessarily trying to fix what might be broken. You're just kind of moving along with them, and giving them ideas and attributes that might enhance their relationship, whether it's emotionally or sexually or whatever it is. But that's really great, and I was wondering if we could talk a little about the concept of simplicity and what that means.
Okay. Yeah, that's a concept close to my heart.
Okay.
And for folks who come to me for any reason, I feel like I'm being of service, and I love working with people who come because they're in pain and they want to feel better, or because they want more sexual pleasure. All of it. I feel like I'm of service, and I'm honored to help people along in their journey. And simplicity is a concept that I love teaching. That I wrote this book, Joey, and it's a compilation of a lot of articles I've written over the past 13 years. And those articles are about love and about life and about being healthy, strong people. But the name of the book is Love is Simple, But We Are Not. And I chose that topic because most everything I do is really about love. And love, if we practice it, it is always trying to simplify us and our lives. Because love, I believe, is the simplest thing there is. And as human beings, we tend to be very, very complicated. And that our complexity interferes with our ability to love, because love is so simple. And I think that we cannot always love well because we're far too complicated. And the more that we aim to love another in all its forms, it doesn't have to be the kind of love in a love relationship, or it doesn't have to be physical kind of love or sexual kind of love, but just being kind. I think being kind is a form of love. That every time we practice loving, love itself is trying to simplify us. And the more that we make choices in our life to live simply, we are now making love in our lives more accessible, right? Our chance of loving ourselves, our chance of living a successful life, in a life in which we love our life, now becomes much, much more possible. And it comes from this thing called simplicity. And we live in a day and age where things are extremely complex. Technology has made things so complex, and our lives are broken into hundreds and thousands of little pieces. And to make our lives better, we often make these choices by including more in our life. But, that actually makes our lives more complex, even though we think that that's making our life better. And if we really want to live a good life, the choice to live a simple life will pay dividends, will reward us with a better quality of life and a better quality of love. So it makes life easier and more successful. With a lot of people who come to me, their lives are burdened with so many parts and pieces and complexity that they can't find their way through that jungle, that forest with millions of trees, to find their way clear of it to something that's open and that's loving. So, Joey, that's the concept of simplicity. What do you think?
I love it. And what I was going to say about that is, you're right. Love is probably the easiest thing to do, but it's people that screw it up in a way, right? I mean, think about it. Why, you know what I wish? Obviously, I know you're familiar with the term, the honeymoon phase, right? The honeymoon phase is when people are, first starting to dating, and there's nothing else in the world but you and that other person, and everything is hot and it's heavy, and then then you know, and then and you know, and sometimes it could stay like that, and those are what I feel make a great relationship. You know, when I hear someone talking about their spouse after 20, 30 years, and still talking like they're dating, you know, and I wonder, I wish there was like a magic pill, Andrew, that we could take to just right, that just to make every relationship as if like we're just on that honeymoon phase, and think about like how relationships would just be changed, but obviously people change, things change, life changes, 2020 happens, and things just get out of whack. But it's something that I like for instance, even with me, that's something that I think about, and I'm blessed. She's a wonderful woman. We have a great relationship. But in those moments of anger or frustration, and it happens, I try to think about those memories, those good memories, or when we, and we still have great memories, and we're creating them as we go. But that's what I try to think about. I don't try to daunt on the negative things. I try to, more focus on the positive things, the things that we used to do, or the things that we want to do together in the future when, the world isn't on fire like it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess everybody's different. Some people are a little more pessimistic. Some are optimistic. I try to just look at the good in everything,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that magic pill you were talking about, if I could invent it, boy, I sure would. But the best alternative I have is helping couples day by day grow, learn, get stronger, deepen their love, and with a lot of couples, we can rebuild some of those qualities that they experienced early on in the honeymoon period.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be younger. We can't live in the past. But what we can do is, by being in touch with the center of our being and awakening the love deep inside, because I believe, Joey, we're all made of love, we can tap into that and bring that forth into our love relationships. And we can recreate some of those qualities in the very beginning. It is my belief that when two people meet and their hearts connect, that this bliss, this amazing love of the honeymoon period is a divine enticement that encourages the two people to connect and to form a deeper love relationship for their growth, for their long-term growth and well-being. Because it appears that the purpose of connecting with another human being is to grow and increase our capacity to love. And we do so by practicing with this other person in life. And so the therapy, the couples work that I do with two people is about getting in touch with that love that's in their depths, reawakening it and bringing it forth so they can once again feel some of that amazing love that they can share between them. And also, sexually, there are ways to be together and practice a physical love to reawaken some of that amazing love feeling and make that connection just magical, right? So that is the work. I don't have a pill. But the next best thing is to grow and to bring that into our life. How does that sound?
That sounds great. And I just want to say one thing, sir. If you do create that pill, you better put a patent on it real quick, because everyone's going to be coming after you.
Yeah, you bet.
If you create that pill, and trust me, they'll stop the coronavirus vaccine right now and start working on that. Speaking of, sir, hold on a second. We got another caller coming in. Hold on. Hello, caller. Thank you for calling us while we're live. And we have Mr. Andrew Aaron with us, marriage counselor, sex therapist, psychotherapist. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's Maureen. I'm calling from New Jersey.
What's up, Maureen from New Jersey? Thank you for calling us. You have a question for Mr. Aaron?
Yes. Every time I leave the house, my husband becomes extremely paranoid and doesn't stop calling me and texting me. What do I do to solve this?
What do you
Hi,
think? Hi,
Maureen. Thank you for giving us a call and for asking. This is a challenging question. Obviously, a question that I think can probably cause you a lot of distress. Is that right?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And when he calls you and when he texts you nonstop, what is he saying? What is he texting?
He's always asking, like, I'm not even, like, gone for, like, a half hour, and he texts me, when are you coming home? What are you doing? Like, who's there? Stuff like that. It's not.
Okay. A really difficult problem. I've seen this kind of issue, unfortunately, many, many times before. So it would appear that your husband is having a lot of anxiety, maybe a lot of fear, feeling perhaps insecure. I'm wondering if in the past he's experienced some painful losses. Do you know much about his distant past?
Yes, well, I know he's been hurt a couple times by, like, past relationships. Like, I know, like, one of them cheated on him, and I know I don't think he ever got over that, so I think he's kind of, like,
Yes, yeah, it sounds like the wounds he experienced, betrayal can be traumatic, which means that the pain can linger for a very long time. And that's really unfortunate for him and for you. And now you seem to be receiving from him the pain from those past hurts. So what have you said to him so far, and how has he responded to it?
But I always try to, like, reassure him that, like, about things that, like, that's not going to happen. We're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that to him. But, like, and I explain, like, I'm not your ex, but he just doesn't seem to understand that, and he just doesn't, he doesn't really respond. He just still continues to do the same thing. Like, he thinks I'm going to hurt him like they did.
Yeah, Maureen, you can try to rationalize with him and reassure him, and those are words, those will be accepted by his mind, but the problem is emotional, and it doesn't change how he feels. So that's extremely frustrating for both of you. You feel like your marriage is good apart from this issue, or are there other difficulties?
No, I think that was just about it. That's the only problem we really have.
Okay. Well, it's a wonderful question, because I know that there are also a lot of people who are listening in who struggle with this kind of problem. And I really appreciate the courage it took to give a call. He's going to need to do some healing. And it's really easy for you to try to rearrange your behavior to try to keep him comfortable. But that's not going to work. It's his pain eventually will attempt to imprison you so he feels comfortable and safe, and that wouldn't be fair to you. So it will be necessary to say to your husband that he needs to address this on his own in therapy. He needs to heal, and that you can't stop living your life or tiptoe around him trying to make him feel safe, in addition to reassuring him that you love him and that you're not going to do anything to cause him hurt. But you can't help him heal this, Maureen. He's going to have to do this, and he's going to need to work in therapy and get in touch with his pain and realize that this pain is running his life, and it's going to harm your relationship too, right?
Yeah.
For how long has this been going on?
We've been together for 5 years, so it's been going on for maybe about 3. Just like nonstop. He just, because it was the first 2 years, it was like just fine, but it would be once in a while he would just like do the texting. But now it's after that, it's just been nonstop. Yeah,
it's gotten worse. Unchecked, pain spreads like fear. Pain and fear spread like a cancer. Once they start getting control, they start expanding and almost like metastasizing, spreading throughout his psyche. And he needs to fix this. This is his problem, and if he doesn't, after a while, it's going to destroy all the good feeling you have for him, and that would be tragic, right?
Yeah, I don't want that to happen.
No. Do you feel like you can talk straight with him and tough and let him know that he needs to address this problem?
I'll try to do that. I'll try my best.
Okay. Or you could, if he's willing to start therapy, you could join him at first and be kind of like an ambassador to help him start that process of working on his old wounds and healing them. So, because if he's full of fear, he will not be able to fully love you. It'll be all about his fear.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to you. Okay?
Yeah.
So I wish I could fix this problem for you, but this is something your husband's going to have to work on, all right?
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for calling in, Maureen. Good luck with that.
Thank you, Maureen. Best of luck to you. Okay. Well,
Yeah, great question.
Well, yeah, and hopefully that she's able to have that conversation with her husband, and kind of bring to light that she's there for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's been a great show so far. Again, everybody, we got a few minutes left. If you wanted to call in, we are still here, and I'm not really sure where to go here, because I would love to dive into our next topic. Obviously, we're not going to get time to finish it, but is there anything that was specific on your mind, sir? Or we could start with faces of love relationships, or that's up to you.
Okay, well, I'm thinking about Maureen, and my heart goes out to her. That's a really tough problem. Okay. And obviously there's pain in her marriage. Her husband is experiencing the pain of fear. And that affects a relationship. It can mostly on the friends level. In our love relationships, in our marriages, I think of that very important relationship as having 3 very important phases, and one of them, the core of the love relationship, is the friendship. And the friendship is a part of a love relationship where there needs to be some good mutual sharing, some openness, some sensitivity between partners. The friendship will stay if partners are kind and considerate of each other, and it won't tolerate a whole lot of hurtfulness.
Yeah, sir.
That's what
I'm sorry. Do you want to take our next call? I guess we'll take it. So we've got a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Hey, caller. Thank you for calling. While we're live with Mr. Andrew Aaron, what's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, my name is James, and I'm calling from New York.
What's up, James from New York? Thank you for joining us. What's your question for Mr. Aaron?
I'm struggling with co-parenting. Do you think it would be a good idea for us to bring in a mediator?
What do you think,
Hey,
Mr.
James,
Aaron?
that sounds like a tough situation. When you say co-parenting, does that mean you and the other parent of your child are not together?
Correct.
Okay. And how long have you been apart, and what is the age of your child?
We've been apart for about a year now, and the age of our child is 4.
Okay. And were you married and now divorced, or you were not married?
We were not married, no.
Okay. Co-parenting is a tough thing to do. I think a lot of former partners who share children co-parent quite poorly because it's really difficult to do. What are some of the difficulties that you're experiencing trying to co-parent with, is it the mother of your child?
Yeah, sometimes it's like we don't get along. Other times it's arguments that me and her are having start affecting like the child's life, and it start affecting what I can do or can't do with the child.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
all right.
I was thinking like maybe it would be easier for us to have a third party involved, but I'm not sure because, sometimes you don't want somebody telling you how to be involved with your kid.
It's true. I think a third party, some kind of mediator or facilitator, can help if both you and your child's mother respect this individual and are willing to give this individual some power to influence the two of you. But the same kind of strengths we need to have a good love relationship are required by co-parents. So the two of you need to give each other a lot of leeway, respect, and influence in order to have the kind of mutual respect that can help the two of you be good co-parents. Right? And James, it sounds a bit like you're feeling that the mother of a child doesn't give you that kind of respect. Is that right?
Yeah, sometimes it definitely feels that way.
Yeah. And if she's telling you how to be with your child, that sounds like some disrespect and some what I call boundary violations. Do you think she has some valid points, or is she coming out of left field?
You know, sometimes I do find valid points inside of her, what she says, but a lot of times it feels like she's coming out of left field, you know?
Okay. If, when she tries to control how you are with your child, if you listen underneath what she's trying to say and you can figure out if she's feeling afraid or insecure or worried, and you speak into that, you might then be able to soften her stance and maybe negotiate with her to get her to back off a little bit. But if you do find a good third party who she can trust, that mediator might be able to help to make a difference. Do you know of such a person?
I might know of a person, maybe her mother.
Okay. Yeah, talk to your child's mother first about that and see if she would be open to that possibility. And maybe if she invited her mother to do it, she might then be more open to influence in the situation that could make things better. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds like a promising idea there.
Okay.
All right, give that a try. I really appreciate you giving a call and talking about something that, I think is a challenge for a lot of parents. So I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I definitely needed that guidance.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Have a great day.
Be well.
All right.
Okay, wow, that was a real question, and as we're just about to conclude our broadcast, I'm really glad that we were able to get that in.
Yes, that was a real life question, and it can be very thorny and very, very difficult. So James was really open and honest. That's a painful situation.
It is. But you know what? I'm glad that you were able to talk him through it, sir. And again, it's been a wonderful show. I had a great time with you as always. And to the world out there, we have been talking to the wonderful Andrew Aaron, everybody, licensed independent clinical social worker out of New Bedford, Massachusetts. Please reach out to him, whatever your concerns are. Again, he's a pro. He's been doing this for a long time. You could hear it in his voice how good he is, and all he wants to do is help you as a marriage counselor, as a sex therapist, as a psychotherapist. This is what he does, and before anything, you take a step where you might not want to take that step, or it goes too far. Reach out to Mr. Aaron and see if he can help you. I'm sure he would be able to. And with that, sir, I'm really looking forward to continuing our conversation next week. I hope you have great plans this holiday season with your family. Send us off with how we can get in touch with you and any contact information you'd like us to know.
Okay. And I want to remind the listeners that there's a lot of resources on my website. I created the website specifically so it's valuable for folks who don't even contact me or don't even enter therapy. Also, there's books that I've written that are available at much lower cost than coming into therapy. I want you to find benefit for it to make your life better. If you're in emotional pain, you can make your pain smaller, and I wish for you that occurs. You can find me through my website. It is helpforpassion.com. That's help, F-O-R, passion,
Thank you again, sir, for a great show, and the best to your family. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. And everybody, like I said, he's from New Bedford, Massachusetts, but he's there for you. Reach out to him via that website. Check out his schedule and see what he can do for you. Licensed independent clinical social worker, Mr. Andrew Aaron. Make sure you visit that website, everybody. helpforpassion.com. That's help the word for, not the number for, helpforpassion.com. Sir, thank you so
Joey.
much for another great show. Appreciate it.
Hey, have a great week and a great Thanksgiving.
Yes, you too, my friend. And to everybody else, stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a quick commercial. Again, thank you to our callers out there who were vulnerable in that moment and asked Mr. Aaron a couple of very personal questions. We'll be back with him next week, everybody. So make sure you tune in because we got a whole hour with this guy. 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where we'll be hosting once again Mr. Andrew Aaron. So think about your questions, your comments, your concerns. We'll be here to answer them. All the best, sir, and everybody else. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed,
630-1090-10-4. Order in the corner.
could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.